Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Overcoming Graduation with Brian Drury, a show where I work to teach you everything I wished I'd known about life to help you graduate to the next level in your own. And today is another installment of the Morning Commute, where I take my ride to work in the morning to share a short but powerful message with you to help you kick your day off on the right foot. And today's message is this: is it even worth it? The other day, I went on my podcast hosting platform to take a look at my stats for my recent episodes. I'd recently employed some new strategies to try and be more consistent with my posting, to get it out to more people, started to engage my email list, which is something I've done very, very infrequently over the course of my couple of years in business, but something I really want to do more. I've heard from many of my mentors that that's one of the best ways to engage with people is through your email list. So I'm doing all these new things. I'm building out automation. I'm building out consistency. I'm building out multiple episodes in a week. I'm putting out more content. I'm putting out shorter form and longer form. So I'm trying all these new things, and I was excited to see the results, expecting a big bump. And then when I opened up the webpage, the numbers were a lot lower than I expected. Still better than when I wasn't posting, but not that great. And the thing was, I put out several episodes I was very proud of, both interviews and individual episodes that I was like, these are good ones. These are ones I'm proud of. These are ones that are really going to help people. These are ones that are clear, that the message is concise, that I had, a good vibe coming into it, or I really delivered something that I think can be beneficial to people. So I was excited to see them get out there. And then I see the low numbers, and I go, man, I wonder why that happened. And what can happen? This is a dangerous transition. You can move from, why did that happen from a scientific and analytical standpoint, and how can I modify to improve the results later, to why do I suck, and letting the negative voice take over. Because when you go, man, why are the numbers so low? Negative voice goes, oh, hang on, I have a whole book on this. He opens up the pages. He's got this huge volume. Reasons why Brian sucks. Okay, so yeah, I see, Brian, you're wondering why the numbers are low. Well, you're clearly just not good at podcasting. You're not a good interviewer. You're not good at shaping messages and telling people stories that impact their lives. You didn't do a good job interviewing that guest. That guest had great information, a great story, but you didn't do a good job. And you're just really not good at this, and why are you wasting your time, and what are you really getting out of this, and on and on and on. And then it gets down to, is it even worth it? I'm putting in all this time and energy, and again, this is the negative voice running the show. Geez, man, you're putting all this time and energy, and he says you, and then you go I, and you adopt it. It's like, putting in all this time and energy. I am putting all this time and energy. And people aren't even listening. And if you don't challenge that conversation, that can be the dialogue that continues and maybe even runs your life. So, is it even worth it? What are you getting out of this? Where's the benefit, man? I mean, geez, all this time and energy, what are you getting back? Are you even good enough? Will you ever be good enough to do this? Probably not. I mean, look, tried all this new stuff and it didn't work. So when you asked me before, is it worth it? Maybe it's not. And that's the real interesting thing. How we can try a new strategy, a new tool, a new method, a new workout, a new diet, a new conversation technique, and see a negative result, and then assume that that's the reality. Because there's an underlying story there that's saying, this is how the world works, or this is you and you're not good enough, or something to that effect. But the other piece is, when your negative voice is running the show, you ever notice how it gets very internally and self-centered focused? It's very much about you. Well, what are you getting out of this? How are you benefiting? What are you getting? Instead of going, well, hey man, if that episode only had 1/10 of the downloads, let's say you were expecting 300 and you got 30. well, okay, you could look at, well, it's not as high as I thought, or you could say, that's 30 people that had a chance to be impacted, to have their lives changed potentially, to benefit them, to start their day off better. A while ago, I stopped obsessing about the numbers because it's a losing battle. It's like obsessing about the money in your bank account or the number of downloads. Like, those things are good indicators. You can see and determine your financial success, your profitability. It's like those things they're necessary steps in a business to track. But when they become the sole purpose or the sole focus, that's when it gets dangerous. And what's really interesting is when we try an experiment and it doesn't go well, and we're prone to just snapping to a decision about what that means, we can miss the bigger picture and we can miss the truth. Because just this morning, I was going to post a really incredible interview that I just did, and really excited for this one to go out. And I went on my Facebook page, and that's typically where I get the most engagement with my posts and with my podcast. And I noticed that my posts for the past 3 weeks have been set to only me for view access. So it's only visible to me. Because a couple weeks ago, there had been one post that I wanted to get a photo off my computer and onto my phone. So I was like, I'll just post it as private on Facebook, download it there, and then save it onto my phone. But instead of just switching it for that one post, I switched the setting for all my posts, didn't recognize it, and so no one has been seeing the posts. So the only people that would be getting the downloads are people who are either checking regularly or subscribe to the podcast, where primarily my best results come from Facebook. So that whole, well, you suck and you this and you're not good at this, you didn't employ this strategy well, that negative voice can convince you of a lot of bullshit when really I just made a mistake. My normal way of getting to people wasn't happening. Where people are used to engaging with me wasn't there. So I opened up the posts and I'm like, all right, well, I can just do a repost and say, hey, here's some recent episodes. I messed up. I had it set to only me. I want to make sure you guys see these because I'm proud of these. And that's what I'm going to do after this episode goes. Today, an episode went live today, so I want to make sure that one gets its focus. But it's really interesting what can happen and how quickly we can go down this negative rabbit hole when it can be something so small that's not what we're thinking. It has nothing to do with our talent, our ability, or what we can do to impact people's lives. It's just about click the wrong button. So I want you to think about in your life where you're having the is it even worth it moment. And step back for a second and say, what is it really that's causing things to not go the way I want? And also, when you're feeling really negative and down, keep in mind, if it's all focused on you, what can you do to take the focus off you and focus on helping others? Where can you detach from the numbers needing to go up for you to feel worthy and focus on the 1, 2, 3, 7, 9 people that are impacted by it? Because when we start to focus there, we focus on the impact and we get excited by any engagement, by any person who's listening, by any person who's really taking the messages to heart, that's where it continues to grow, because then we're not doing it for the numbers. So when you're worried about whether or not it's worth it, when you're thinking about that in your life, take a moment to say, okay, it's not working. Why isn't it working? If it has worked in the past, what was I doing that made it work? And go back and check those things and make sure your Facebook settings are right. But really, if that's where you're getting the most engagement, check those little things. If your health is derailing, what are the little things you haven't been doing or you have been doing that you need to start or stop? Confusing way of saying that, but were you doing a quick morning workout or doing 50 push-ups in the morning and that got your day off on the right foot, and now you're eating a cupcake in the morning and the weight's been going on? What are the little things that have changed that are shifting you from a place of power to a place of feeling weak or feeling like a victim? And what can you do to focus more on the impact you're making and the people you're touching, and take those little steps to realize it's always worth it when you know in your heart that you're putting things out with a desire to help serve and better the world. So we can always get better at it. We can use those data and those statistics to help us improve that. But we focus on the impact and the potential. Because even if the people aren't listening to the episode right now, or they're not watching your video, or they're not hearing your speeches right now, they may be able to hear it years from now. So it's about playing that long game. I love you guys. Thank you all for listening today. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Stitcher. And if you would like to reach out to me directly to provide feedback on the show, send me a question, recommend an interviewee, you can reach out to me at brian@overcominggraduation.com. And if you are ready to start creating massive results in your life, get clear on your purpose, remove unseen and sometimes unknown obstacles from your path, mental and physical, and get clear on what action steps you can take to start making your dream life a reality today, go to overcominggraduation.com/coaching or reach out to me directly at brian@overcominggraduation.com. I love you guys. Have a great day, and let's kick off that morning right. Have a fantastic morning commute and a fantastic start to your day. I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you again real soon.